Welcome back to Blunt Talk. This is Carol. I'm a certified medical cannabis consultant and co-owner of 420 Friendly. This is part 2 of our road trip to Bodhi, the quest for more diamonds. If you did not see part 1, I highly suggest that you stop here and go back and watch that one first so that it all makes sense from here forward. Enjoy.
Any other questions in here? Probably look at some bands. Yeah. Or, sorry, it's a slow production week and my extractor is injured himself, so I don't have any fresh pans in here crashing out. This is what we've been working on this week though. We've got a few pans of dry cure material. So our front end marker, 3 pans of that from dry cure, and then this pan down here is fresh frozen from the natural mystic box. When my extractor gone, when he pours out, so the pans come into here, they'll get pre-purged weights on the pan. So that's as soon as it comes out of the system with a little bit of solvent still in it, we'll get a weight of what that pan is. So we have a total batch weight before everything really gets started. So everything will come into oven 1 to start its crash process. And what we're looking for in that is as the material gets heated up, this is constantly at about 95 Fahrenheit, the butane will start to, vent out and evaporate out of the material in a warm oven. Butane will come out. And then the THCA will start to crash out. So as that happens, it'll start to, slowly drop at the bottom of the pan. You'll see little pinpoints of what looks like shiny sand. And then after 2-3 days, all of those little shiny sand pieces kind of meet together and it'll form a whole crystal structure on the bottom. What I look for is for that crystal structure on the bottom of the pan to match up with itself enough to where it starts to lift and peak up and allows a separation from the bottom. And once that separation happens, I know that pan is ready to start purging. We can move it over to one of our other ovens. So when it's ready, we'll take it out. We'll use some metal spatulas and we'll just kind of lightly turn the material over, break up the really large crystals into smaller, more manageable pieces. And we'll put it into this oven here and we'll purge it. Yeah. So we purge all of our material for about 3 days. Once that process is done, everything gets jarred up and we send it out to test. We use Confidence 360. Yeah, Confidence. I think they're just Confidence analytics now. But that's what we use for testing, and all of our products will sit back on the shelf until that test comes in. For our dry cure material that we get from dry cure products, that has a much faster turnaround. Our firm never stops. They're making thousands of joints a day. So as soon as a product that came from dry cure comes back from test, we're immediately either battering it down if they want batters, we're adding isolates or Dexlite. Battering is crushing down all of those crystals so that you get even consistency for the paint. It depends on how much terpenes are in the batch. Certain things where you're just kind of whipping and it's trying to think of consistency like marshmallow, where it's like really light and you can really whip, agitate it that fast. Those are typically from fresh frozen and they have a lot of terpenes in them. The thicker batters that, it's still pliable, maybe more like a little more than like kinetic sand, it just wants to hold together more, that sort of material. Those, I still consider those batters, they still go through the process of crushing down all those THCA crystals. They just have less terpenes. Whenever we have batches like that, we try to add other terpenes of HTV, either from that batch, if we've separated any, or from a very similar batch if we've processed it before. So HTV, see how liquidy that is. This is one that we've still had in the process. So we poured this off of a pan. We let everything crash out of it. We separated that, and then it still has just a little tiny bit more. I don't know if you can see it on the camera there. Kind of like light dusting here at the bottom. So really, really tiny, fine sand-like particles. That's THCA. So that was THCA that was still in the solution that by putting it in the oven and letting it warm up and sit there, it's just falling crash to the bottom of the jar. That's the crash out.
It's literally like you see the crashing to the bottom.
So this just means the salt, the liquid is the HT.
The liquid.
So this is from a form that we use quite a bit, LOV green. This is our purple punch. I can get more stuff.
And you can tell that's great.
Yeah.
Like it.
I can smell it from
Very
here.
Everybody wants to put it on.
With this also is like the honey tree base. We can take distillate and just add some of that to it to essentially give it
Yeah, that's
the
where I got
turkey
the
balls off the
saw that on her product and
Yeah.
how they had it written down, like to ask about what HTA.
Yeah. It's like the honey tree parts, we'll take distillate, add HTV to it, and that's how we get those strains.
Okay.
So we're using cannabis right here.
You can see kind of all this liquid pooled at the top of these.
Yeah.
All of that liquid is HEV.
We're
Our
like,
fresh frozen or dry cure material, it's still HE and high terpene extract that's coming from the oil.
Like you probably have a concentrate, you go home, you open it, and there it's like gold color, and then at the top you have this like layer, just a turf layer at the top of it.
Oh, okay.
That the herbs. You just basically pour it off of. We have a strain that has like 20% terps. Most people don't need 20% terpene in their dab on their vape cart. So like some of those we can actually pour off and utilize it in some other like products. To where what's different between yeah.
So this is from dry cure material. Usually with dry cure, obviously, it doesn't have a lot of the excess terpenes that fresh frozen material has. So you can see most of this jar is all crystallized. You know, it's all crystal, but there is HG at the bottom. This is what, if we were going to take this batch and batter it, I would take all of this, put it into a pan. That way I get all of that HCE and I batter that back into the crystals. So I'm crushing the crystals, making them very small particles, and blending them with the HCE. With the honey tree joint material?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Just to incorporate the botanicals and the HCE, everything that we put into it, we batter that together and thoroughly mix it so it's one solid homogeneous batch. That way you're not going to get a little bit out of it that doesn't taste like mango if it's mango. You're not going to pick from here and you're going to get a strong grape taste and pick from here and get no grape taste. We want it thoroughly mixed with it. Sure. So this process, so when we separate the HTE from the THCA crystal, we do it in a filter over on a cold trap. So when we do that, there's moisture in everything. There's moisture in the air right now. So when we do that, we pull water out of the
Setup. So we take our old like international room over there that we're on the other side of that one, our dish bin. We clean all of our oily dishes and stuff in there with ethanol vat, and then we take the ethanol that's super dirty and stuff like that. We put it through a couple of different processes like winterization, which we put it in -30, and then all the fats crash out at the bottom and stuff. We put those through a filter, so it filters out all the fats and a bunch of the bigger stuff that's like crap and that ethanol still. And then we put it in what?
That's called winterizing?
Yeah, winterization, yeah. Essentially, just getting it super cold so that anything that will solidify at that super cold temperature can be filtered out easier, you know. Once you put it through that, then we put it in that big glass machine over here. I probably need you guys over here. It's pretty cool to look at. Thank you. So the ethanol comes in through this tube and goes into here, and then you can hot water that. So under pressure and under vacuum, the ethanol will evaporate much easier. Then we condense it through this condensation tube where we got like cold ethanol that goes through this chiller and those tubes and stuff. It recondenses like purely ethanol down in there. We can just recollect all of our ethanol that we've used. It's pretty cool process. But
And reuse them?
yeah, I mean, it's completely clean once it goes through that process. And then what we have left is what we call crude oil, and we take it and we devolatilize it, is what we call that next process. So we just take. And at the end of the day, this is just like what you want, so that's why you go through all this process. Yeah, because this is not like, doesn't have a great smell, doesn't look good. Devolatized crude. Yeah. This is the devolatized crude. It's like, it's still got heads and nasty stuff in it, but that's why we put it through. The last process is that distillation, or short path distillation. That like gets rid of everything that we don't want in the last process to go through. And it's just like, heating and cooling in certain areas, making sure you get the point in one area. All this glass and stuff here is used to make a short path distillation. So yeah, it's really thick. It's usually like completely opaque. You can't really see through.
So when we do that, there's moisture in everything. Moisture in the air right now. So when we do that, we pull water out of the oil. Like this is also ice crystals that build up in there that create more water, but that's part of the process. But this band at the top here, those are distilled terpenes from that HTE. So in that process, we're using a vacuum to pull the liquid HTE through a filter and catch all the THCA. Just through that process, having the vacuum on, it's going to pull lighter terpenes also. So terpenes are part of oil, so oil and water don't mix. So when you have this happen, your terpenes float at the top. 100%. So this is from kind of a mixed batch, but the HTE that you smelled, this is 10 times more potent.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big difference. So this comes from this all comes from this, that all comes from the plant. It's all a part of the plant, just in separate little pieces. This is great. Take that shot. Thank you. So this is a fresh frozen batch. You can see this one. When these pans crash out, the dry cure material, because there's less terpene, it wants to crystallize in larger chunks more. Because our fresh frozen has so much HTE and terpenes in it, we typically get smaller crash outs to where the THCA particle crystals are broken up a little bit more. But you can see, obviously, this one was not battered, but it has just a lot more terpenes in it. And that's what that band at the top is, and gives it that kind of uniform looking color throughout the drum. This, very similar also. This was also a fresh frozen batch, but just not as terpene. It had a lot more crystals to where this is still all crystals in here. It's just mixed with those terpenes, with that HTE. Just a little variety of, what we typically think. So once a pan is done purging in the oven, and we decide where it's going, whether it's going up to joints for their material, or it's going to go up to our BBC room for cramming into a concentrate, or we're going to keep it in here and decarb it for bacon. But once that process is done, the first process, and we know where it's going to go, we can in here start our vape process to where we're decarbing here in oven 4 in jars. The same process that's happening in the next room in those pots. This is just the old school way of doing it. So hot oven, oil in a jar, couple of weeks, and it completely melts.
And that's super liquidy just because it's heated.
Yeah.
If it was cooled at room temp, it'd be normal acid. So
Okay.
where like those terpenes you showed you earlier,
Yeah.
those are going to be liquidy pretty much regardless. Yeah.
So even some of our HPE, once it cools down, goes into the fridge. Sometimes, it remains very viscous, it's very mobile, it wants to move. And then sometimes it's pretty solid. It depends on the material, where it came from, where it was grown, how it was grown, a lot of factors go into that. And also how it's processed out. So yeah, we'll either decarb in vape jars right there in oven 4, or we will put full batches into pressure pot. We call them vape vessels, just for ease. But yeah, we'll decarb in full batch that way. Once that's done, we can get everything here. I got to put the work order away. I put it over there. But I'll build out work orders and we'll mix vapes and we'll take live resin material, depending on which brand line it is. We're currently working on a pure brand line. So we're taking live resin and THCA. So this looks really funny right now. So this is purple. Yesterday it was clear. This is from THCA isolate. THC isolate that we get is extremely pure, 98% plus. So when we get it, it's a white color. What we do with it is put it in an oven under extreme heat. We melt that THCA into a liquid. Once that's melted into a liquid, depending on how pure it is, depends on how fast it will oxidize. So the purple that you're seeing here is oxidation. So when THCA oxidizes, it turns purple first, and then light red, and then finally to a dark red. And that's just, you can see it a lot of the times. It's easiest to see them in 510 folks. You'll look at a cartridge and you'll see just a thin line right at the very top of the fill. And that all that line is with oxidation. So that's air touching THC. So as that happens, as that sits for however long it sits before someone purchases it, that line can get a little bit bigger, but all that is oxidation. It's like if you had a piece of fruit, like an apple sitting on the counter, and a bite is taken out, throughout the course of the day, that apple turns brown due to oxidation. Same exact thing.
So that's the powder melted down, right?
Okay.
That's what companies will call that melted diamond.
That,
But yeah, it is THC. A diamond is essentially just THCA. His definition is about 0.25 chunk of diamond, right? But people take that THCA powder all the time, melt it down, and we got melted diamond in our hearts. Yep. And then it's kind of
It's the same process, it's the same thing. To me, I consider diamonds just a little bit larger, because if you're going to purchase a gram of diamonds, you would want larger crystals. If you're purchasing an isolate powder, THCA isolate powder, it's the same thing. It's the same larger crystals, you crush it down to a small fine powder.
that audience was my, thank you.
I think sometimes this isn't 100% right? Sometimes crystals are usually higher THC, lower terpene. Batters are usually higher terpene.
So yes, that's always okay.
The butter, fire, turbine,
Yes,
and.
because
I thought that was just a feeling.
Yep. No, because I mean, just looking at these two batches, this I would say would be a batter. This would be crystals.
Yes.
The amount of terpenes that are in this are going to lower your THCA value. To where this has less terpenes, just like with THCA. We're asking about the diamonds. We talked about kind of rocks and salts, the diamonds and salts that people use to make. You've got that extremely potent THCA crystal. What's bringing that down is the terpenes. The terpenes are adding flavor, they're adding entourage effect, they're adding other things, but they're bringing your overall cannabis score down. Where if it was just crystal, it would be much higher.
Did you guys used to sell isolate?
Yeah.
And those were like 90+%.
Right.
But then diamonds and sauce, you probably see 78%. I mean, and that's just because the volume. 1 gram is 1,000 milligrams. It's all THCA. Chances are it's going to be 95 plus, right? But if 15% of that 1,000 milligrams is terpenes, that THCA can't be more than 85% technically, right? So it's kind of that game. And that's where like people want really good effect, really good flavor, longer lasting high. Batters are great.
Yeah.
If they're just looking for THC and want to get high and want numbers, it's not.
Yeah. So these, I feel like, are a great representation of our brand lines from original to pure to ultra pure. This is our strawberry pop. We've been running this for quite a little bit now. This one's from Canasol Farms. We do have another one sourced from another farm. We kind of use them in tandem, but great strawberry pop, amazing smell. Just has that, just everything that I want in strawberry pop.
So that's the green line. So that is live resin, and then a little bit of distillation added to that to up the THC numbers further. The THC numbers, right?
So this is going into our pure line. This is our GMO. This one is from Green Press Gardens. And it's everything I want in a GMO. It's funky, it's oniony, it's garlicky. It's got that, what I like in a GMO, what I love in a GMO is that onion that's like almost raw. Like it's soft onion and it's starting to go bad, but it's just got that just onion funkin'. That's the GMO I love.
Green line, we're adding a little.
So this would be our pure line. This would have melted THC isolate and it's potency boost. Where this is distillate, this would be isolate. These would also be isolate, but in a much smaller fraction. So this is peach rings. This originally came from Canasol Gardens, Canasol Farm, sorry, and they called it Black Russian. When we got it, we ran the strain and instantly, I mean, you know what the smell material is probably like. So we renamed it. What do you get?
I don't have the coloring.
Okay.
I wouldn't even.
So, to me, this smells just like you opened a fresh bag of Haribo peach rings and put the first one in your mouth. That's what I've gotten off of this jar from day one. I love this strain. I get that strong, sweet, sugary, candy peach smell. That's what I get.
They thought it was black Russian.
That was the original strain, was Black Russian, but we renamed it. Fantastic strain. I hope they keep growing it and don't change a single thing they did. This comes from local farm, 2 Day Farms. This one is a hit or miss. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. I like it. I like the funkier strains, but this one, it smells just like a tire fire to me. It is burning rubber.
It reminds me of
It is. Aaron has the spot on nose too. He calls it, that racetrack smell. Like as soon as he said that, I 100% was like, yep, that's it. But it's just funky. It's kind of burny. It's those like almost unpleasant, but pleasantly there.
Like you smoke that around people, people are gonna come around and ask you like, what is date flower?
Yeah. And it just depends. Like people that like the funkier stuff, it's called road rage. It is.
So the green line, we're just bumping the live resin with some extra potency.
Yeah. So, so
This we're having this. Live resin is technically in the sense of the endo lines are the cans are derived from the live resin extraction process.
yes, we collected these from live resin. So our original line is our live resin based material is the deep with distillate.
Yeah, whatever
Two lines is live resin deep carbon product with melted THCA. And then our ultra pure live resin decarbed with THCA.
So our line technically tell people all the time.
So both of these lines are melted diamonds. It's just the ratio. More live resin in the ultra pure, to where there's a little bit less live resin, a little bit more THC in the pure line, and that's just boosting the potency of the This line is just all about flavor. If you've got people that just really, really want a great flavor and have no budget, from strict budget to no budget.
Does the machine figure out when to stop, or are you doing?
With my pedal, with my foot.
pedal?
So,
Okay.
my pedal's right here and it's powered by my air hose.
Right.
But I gauge it, I set it up, and then I weigh it. This right here is heated. It's heated to 164 right here.
Right.
That's my heated T-post, so I don't have to use that. And then these lights.
I mean, we can adjust, like, if they allow, like, 2 grams.
So we like to do them at 1, so a little bit over a gram, so that it
Yes, it's got pellets in there, so.
what absorbed into the wick. It's not taken away from.
Did you say you do a little over 1?
Yeah, we do over a little over a gram. Shoot out 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we like to put a little bit extra in there because of what's going to get absorbed, as well as this cart holds barely 1, 1. So we can't go too high on these, but like on our 510s, we like to go 1, 2, 1, 3. So we're going over a gram on most of our carts.
Customers will really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you actually, you don't realize it, but customers know when it's not a whole smell of it. Jordan, who had to refill, went to go refill one, couldn't refill the one he had. He could refill, he couldn't fit the whole gram.
Yeah, these ones go to about 1, 1, and then they'll start. See, we're overfilling right now. He's squirting out the top. So you'll see it come out, see?
Oh, yep.
And these are 1 gram carts, so we'd like to fill it all the way forward.
Right on.
Yeah, all right. You want to keep fulfillment?
Yeah.
They probably, yeah.
From the warehouse to store shelves, Bodhi's offers a little something for everyone, from concentrates to pre-rolls. Yes, folks, part 3 is coming up next. Stay tuned. Until next time, peace.